Hey there, and welcome to Website Tip Friday. So today, like we have for the past few weeks, we're once again going to be focusing in on accessibility. And today's accessibility tip of the week really is color contrast. Now, before we really get into it, I do want to throw in this one caveat, and that this is more for web designers and developers. They usually have more control over the colors for your website than you do. But it's something that's good to know so that you can avoid and fix these problems maybe in the design stage if you're redoing your website, or if you're adding content so you know what colors not to use for your text. So anyway, what is color contrast? So in the simplest of terms, when we're talking about color contrast for accessibility, we're talking about the difference in colors between the text and the background. There's a whole lot of math that goes on behind the scenes to figure out the ratios and whatnot, but there are tools out there that do the calculations for you. So we're not going to get into the messy details about math formulas and whatnot, but there are some hard numbers that you kind of need to aim for. For example, this WCAG recommends a 4.5 to 1 ratio for normal size text. And for larger text, they really want you to go for a 3 to 1 ratio. Again, I'll show you how to do these calculations online in a second. But you're probably wondering, how does color contrast affect accessibility? Well, people need to be able to read the text that's on the page, right? I know that there are screen readers out there, but sometimes people who have visual impairment still want to be able to read things on the web page. And if a person has a visual impairment, sort of like a red-green color blindness, then they don't see colors the way you and I do. And if there's bad color contrast between the text and the background, they're not going to be able to read that text. And that helps exactly nobody. So how do you check the color contrast for your text and background? I'll show you. So the tool that I really like to use is WebAIM, and they have a great contrast checker here. So you can see you have foreground color, which will be our text color, background color. The example that they have pulled up is a great contrast ratio, 8.59 to 1. If I were to check it with my text and background colors for my website, I get an even better one at 13 to 16. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to just go check some of my colors. So alright, so I've got my dark blue color here, and that gives us a much similar color contrast ratio. Now, however, if I were to go in and do it for my light blue color, this fails for the normal text. The ratio isn't quite correct here. But if I were using it just for large text like this, it would fail the AA, but it would fail the AAA. And then if I were to move it over here, and then try it with the white. Again, same thing. Fails for normal text, passes for AA on large text. You can just come in here and play around with it, check your colors, get the contrast ratio, figure out if it's going to work, if it's not. And it's a great tool. It does it all very quickly. So there you have it. As we talked about, this is more for web designers and developers, but if you run a website, it's something that's really good to know so that you can avoid these problems down the road. And you can make sure that the content that you create doesn't have contrast issues. You should know that if you have a white background, you shouldn't use hot pink as text color because nobody can read that. If it looks questionable to you, just use the default colors included in the theme or website. But that's all for today. If you have any questions about color contrast or anything to do with accessibility, feel free to reach out on social media or in comments down below. I also now have a landing page over on my website that offers resources and people to follow so that you can learn more about accessibility. Because again, as we've continued to talk about, web accessibility matters. Everyone should be able to use your website.